Here's a question nobody in your industry wants to answer honestly. Two analysts, same firm, same experience level, same title. One of them leaves the office at 5:30 with everything done, client email sent, research briefings completed, reports reviewed, earnings call prep finished. The other one is still there at 8 p.m., still writing, still summarizing, still formatting, same job, wildly different days. What's the difference? It's not intelligence, it's not hustle, it's not even a better work system. It's one shift in how they approach the written work that makes up 30 to 40% of every financial analyst's week. And here's the uncomfortable part. If you haven't made that shift yet, you're not just working harder than you need to, you're slowly falling behind people who have. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes because what I'm about to walk you through will change how you think about your workday, your output, your career, and it's going to be immediately actionable. No theory, no fluff. Here's what we're covering. First, we're going to look at exactly which part of your job AI can handle, and I'll show you why most people get this completely wrong. They think it replaces the analyst. It doesn't. It replaces the worst parts of the analyst's day. Then I'm going to give you a framework that professional AI users actually apply, something called the RCTF method, that takes your AI outputs from mediocre to genuinely professional in about 60 seconds of setup. And finally, I'm going to explain why the professionals building these habits right now are setting themselves up for something that compounds. It's not just about today's workday, it's about a 5-year advantage. I want to challenge an assumption you might have walking into this. Most people think AI is either going to replace them, which creates anxiety, or they think it's hype, which creates complacency. Both of those reactions are wrong, and both of them are expensive. The people winning right now have a third response. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me paint a picture that might be uncomfortably familiar. It's Monday morning, you have a client update to write, a research note to structure, and an annual report to review. And about 14 emails that need thoughtful replies. You start with the email. 25 minutes later, it's done. One email. You move to the annual report. It's 120 pages. You skim. You hope you didn't miss anything critical. Your summary is based on the sections you had time to read. By 1:45, you've had to choose between finishing the research note and actually thinking clearly during the meeting. This is the daily reality for a huge percentage of experienced professionals in financial services. Your expertise is what you bring to the judgment layer of those tasks. The writing, the summarizing, the first draft, that's scaffolding, that's setup work. And setup work is exactly what AI is extraordinarily good at. Think of it this way, when a client asks you to explain their portfolio performance, they're not paying for the email format, they're paying for your read on the market. They're paying for your reassurance, your relationship, your professional accountability. The email is just the vehicle. So what if someone else built the vehicle? What if it took 3 minutes instead of 25? You'd spend the remaining 22 minutes actually thinking. That's the shift, not replacement, elevation. Research shows efficiency gains of 20 to 40% on writing and research tasks. For a standard working week, that's nearly a full day return to you, every week, not in some theoretical future, right now. But here's where most people stumble. They try AI, they get a mediocre output, and they conclude it doesn't work for professional use. And the reason for the mediocre output is almost always the same thing. Let me show you what that is. There's a 4-part framework that separates the people who get genuinely useful output. It's not technical at all. It's actually the same skill you already use every time you brief a junior analyst. AI is not a search engine. It's not a database. It's more like a highly capable, extremely smart new colleague who knows nothing about your context. If you just said, write me an email, what would they produce? Something generic, something safe, something you'd never actually send. But with the RCTF framework, that colleague can actually help you. 4 elements, every time. R, role. Tell the AI what kind of expert it's being. You are a senior equity research analyst. You are a CFO preparing board materials. This single step dramatically changes the quality and register of everything that follows. It sets the professional baseline for the AI's response. C, context. Give it the background it needs, the audience, the situation, the constraints. What does it need to know to give you something genuinely useful? T, task. Be specific. Write a 150-word earnings reaction note is a different output than summarize this. Specificity is kindness to the AI and to yourself. F, format. How do you want this structured? Bullet points? Numbered sections? A table? Specifying format stops you from getting a wall of text. Now here's something most people don't realize. This framework doesn't just improve your AI output, it actually clarifies your own thinking before you start. Let me show you the difference with a real comparison. Weak prompt, tell me about this company's earnings. Strong prompt, you are a buy-side equity analyst, and so on. The first version gets you a description. The second gets you something you can actually send to your portfolio manager in 15 minutes. Same AI, completely different output. Think about the documents you produce most often. Every single one has a structure, a purpose, an audience. The RCTF framework is how you hand that knowledge to AI. Now, a rule that matters enormously. Here's the rule. AI drafts, you finalize. That might sound obvious, but most people misunderstand it in one of two ways. The first mistake is using AI output as a rough idea generator, then basically rewriting the whole thing themselves. That's not efficient, it's just more work. The second mistake is more dangerous, sending AI-generated content with minimal review because it looks good enough. That's where professional credibility starts to erode. The right mental model is this. Imagine the first draft is the rough cut construction. The framework is up. Now you, the expert, walk through it and do the fit out. You check the structural integrity, you make sure the numbers are right, you add your proprietary view, your client-specific context, the insight that comes from your actual expertise. When AI handles the drafting, your job shifts from write this to improve this. That's a cognitive gear change that makes your actual thinking faster and sharper. Reviewing and improving is less draining than creating from nothing. That's not laziness, it's cognitive science. Starting from a blank page is expensive, a strong first draft is efficient. But this is non-negotiable. You check every specific fact, every number. You remove anything that doesn't represent your view. The AI builds the vehicle, you drive it and take responsibility. Let me show you what this looks like in a scenario you face regularly. Imagine it's 8 a.m. Tuesday. Your company reports quarterly earnings in 48 hours. Without AI, that's a half day of work. With AI, you start by using a research tool like Perplexity AI. It doesn't just find links, it reads the sources and gives you a synthesized answer with citations about performance and consensus. Then you take that research and use the RCTF framework to build your prep brief. Role: experienced buy-side analyst. Task: generate a comprehensive preparation brief with 12 sharp questions. What comes out is a structured, professional document. You review it, add your proprietary model outputs, and sharpen the questions, from half a day to under 30 minutes. Better coverage. Scenario 2. The long document you don't have time to read. You have a 120-page annual report and 90 minutes before a team briefing. AI handles the scan and structured summary in under 2 minutes. Then here's what changes. You use the save time to actually read the sections that matter most. You catch things the AI didn't flag because they required your contextual judgment. Better brief for your team. Scenario 3. 30 client emails before end of day. Each one needs a professional, relationship-focused touch. AI generates the core email based on your market points in 3 minutes. Then you personalize the details for each client, adding the touch only you have. The quality is consistently high across all 30 because you're refining under attention, not writing under fatigue. Scenario 4. The risk assessment you've never done before. Advising on an acquisition in a new sector. AI generates a comprehensive risk framework with impact ratings and mitigation in minutes. Then you layer in your own sector-specific knowledge, due diligence findings, and professional judgment. AI gives you coverage. You give it accuracy, relevance, and accountability. In every one of these, AI doesn't replace what's hard. It eliminates what's tedious. Your expertise isn't diminished. It's freed up to go where it actually creates value. And this brings us to the most important distinction. If AI can handle summarizing and first drafts, then what's left? What's the irreplaceable part? Think about the moments that actually mattered. The client who called at 9 p.m. because markets were moving and they were scared. The investment committee meeting where you held your thesis under pressure. AI cannot make that call or sit in that room. What you're protecting, what you're freeing up capacity for, is judgment, strategy, relationships, and accountability. Pattern recognition from experience. These are becoming more valuable, not less. It's not AI versus the human analyst, it's the AI-assisted analyst versus the unassisted analyst. The question isn't whether to use AI, it's what happens if you don't. This is where the career dimension becomes urgent. In any significant technology transition, there is a window where early adopters gain advantages that compound. They develop intuitions that can't be faked. They build reputations as the people who make things better. They get the projects, the visibility, the leadership opportunities. That window is open right now for AI in financial services, but it won't stay open indefinitely. Proficiency will soon be expected from everyone. Think about being the person who actually uses these tools consistently. Track your time saved. Document the quality improvements. When your review arrives, you'll have a data-driven story few can match. The professionals building these habits now are making an investment that will look obvious in hindsight. The best time to start was a year ago. The second best time is today. Let me bring this home. The insight at the core of everything is this: 30 to 40% of your workday is probably spent on tasks AI can handle. Not because you're doing unnecessary work, but because those mechanical parts are time intensive. The RCTF framework, role, context, task, format, is the key that unlocks genuinely useful output. It's the same clarity you'd bring to briefing any capable colleague. AI drafts, you finalize, never skip that step. Relationships, judgment, accountability, these are becoming more valuable as AI handles the scaffolding. There's a version of your workday where the blank page problem doesn't exist. That workday is a decision. The ideas today are from the book, The 60-Minute AI Upgrade for Financial Analysts. If you want to go deeper with detailed prompts and step-by-step workflows, it's worth picking up. Start today. If this was useful, please subscribe and drop a comment below. What's the one task in your week that you'd most want to hand off to AI first? I read every reply. Go make the shift. Your future workday will thank you.